Hello out there, everyone on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to the Magic Awards Show recap, nominee recap. Nick, are you excited?
We're doing this again, I guess. Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to get this show. Needs to be here. Eric, we might have set it too far away. Should we? Maybe we should have done it tonight.
Oh, we've got so much stuff to recap tonight, Nick. It's really amazing. I'm sorry, I was just checking our audio there. We are all good to go. We've got a lot of people here. We got John Green saying boom, Happy New Year on YouTube. Hungry on YouTube saying what's good. We have just a ton of people joining us with Facebook. But what's going on tonight is that Nick and I are recapping a whole bunch of the nominees because voting is still live until midnight tonight. You go to p3magic.com/2020 awards and you can put in your vote because we're going to tabulate all the votes on Monday and we're going to be getting in touch with people. It's going to be fantastic. We got a lot of people to talk about tonight, Nick. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, so we're going to be doing the awards show next Friday, so that's going to be really exciting. And we just thought we'd take one last look at the things and answer any questions people might have about them. If you haven't voted yet, like Eric said, you can go over to p3magic.com/2020 awards and vote. It's not too late because you got till midnight. But we're going to talk about all the tricks briefly. We're just going to kind of hang out, answer questions, and talk about Magic.
All right, let's. I think we should probably get to it, Nick. Let's go ahead and let's go through the P3 Partner Products of the Year nominees first. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the amazing floating pen. And sorry if you're just joining us. We are going to whip through these real quick because we've got like 30 different things to talk about tonight. But this is pretty cool. This is by Rodrigo Romano. Came out really, really clever hookup for a floating pen, perfect for virtual shows. It hung out at number one on the charts for I don't know how many weeks.
Super, like it just splashed right onto the chart.
Yeah.
People love levitation stuff, and this actually has a kind of a unique little twist on floating objects. I think if you like anything that floats, you'd love Amazing Floating Pen. I really like it, and it's cheap. It's only like $5, so it's a great partner trick.
Super interesting. I think a lot of people really liked it, and definitely really understand why it got a nomination. Let's move on. The next one is Faith Hacker by Dr. Cyril Thomas. Faith Hacker was really interesting because Cyril really grabbed everyone's attention with Banner Action. There were some really insane visuals with that, and he really knocked it out of the park with Faith Hacker. I know he's been in a lot of the live streams that we've done. He's been in the chat talking to people. And this is really cool because essentially what happens is you take a rubber band off your wrist, hold it at your fingertips, and then you pull it through your fingertips. And as it goes through, it either disappears or changes color. It's completely gimmickless and impromptu. It's really, really interesting.
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Looks completely amazing. Mm-hmm. This was one of the most popular tricks this year, which is surprising because it was like, you know how the second release is never as good as the first? Right?
Yeah.
So, congrats to Dr. Cyril. Everybody absolutely, they love Banner Action, but they love Faith Hacker as well. So it's a well-deserved nomination for Partner Trick of the Year.
Yeah, certainly no sophomore slump there. Let's get into the next one. This one was really interesting. This was Foresight by Colin McLeod. What Foresight is it's all of Colin's like secret pre-show work with a Sven pad. I think he teaches some other stuff, but the main thing that he's talking about here is the way he uses the pad to prep the audiences. And this is what he does in his live show. He does some stuff with this in his Zoom show. And this is also how he gets those crazy reactions on TV. This is what he used when he performed for the royal family. It's amazing.
Yeah, and this is a real testament to the partner program as well, because the partner program isn't just people that create like the people that you've never heard of that create magic. There's top pros that publish things in the Penguin Magic Partner Program as well.
Yeah,
like Colin McLeod, right? So when you get this, you're actually going to see his performance for the royal family. He performed this routine, or one of the routines that he uses is this ploy or plot 4, is maybe what you want to call it.
Yeah.
In a show. Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible release.
Yeah, I think it is very notable of the fact that he chose to do this with the Penguin Partner Program. And again, all the things we're talking about right now are through the Penguin Partner Program. And there's some of the best magic that came out on Penguin this year was from the Partner Program. Again, whipping through these really, really quick. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to talk to us in the chat. We're live on both YouTube and Facebook, and we'd love to take your questions regarding the award show or basically anything else. Moving on, though, to Fragment by Michael Murray. This was a really interesting, really popular card at number that Michael Murray came out. Fooled a lot of people. And the cool thing, like, you know, it's good because he was putting out like uncut performances that just fooled everybody who checked it out.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch a full performance on the product page here, front to back, and honestly, like, I'd be surprised if you know how it works because it's really really good. Card at number, if you're into that, you got to you collect all 1,000 methods, and this is another one. Except that it was really really popular this year. A lot of people downloaded this particular trick by Michael Murray, and well deserved because it's fantastic. Great method.
Just because we're whipping through them so fast, I think the chat is sort of struggling to catch up a little bit. Hungry over on YouTube saying Colin's other release, Envision, was awesome. That's the only one he got. That was a great confabulation that Colin put out. And I mean, all of those releases that Colin put out sort of in the middle of the summer were really, really phenomenal. And if you listen to the Penguin Magic podcast, he talks about a few of them on there when we interviewed him. I can't remember exactly which episode it is, but we had talked to him about a bunch of things. It was a lot of fun.
Colin's really generous with his work. It goes all the way back to his first Penguin Live lecture. And it's just interesting because if you watch any of his stuff, especially his original lecture, and then you've kind of followed his career, you'll see he's doing the same things that he was doing, at the beginning. And you just get to see how they've evolved, and you get to see how smart he's become, and all of his stuff's amazing. He's one of the guys that I'd really like to see his full virtual show.
Oh yeah. Let's sort of move forward here. We're talking about Sortable by Yvonne Garmy. This was really interesting. This one's real near and dear to my heart. He essentially created a way of doing Triumph where the cards were super fairly mixed in the hands, but it was really chaotic. And the shuffles that are getting used are not like, more challenging shuffles like the Truffle Shuffle or the Heinstein Shuffle or any of those that are false in the hands that are super convincing. He essentially took a Leonard Green thing and brought it up off the table, which I'm honestly super mad that I didn't think of this because it's really good.
And it's actually even better than that too, because like when we say like Triumph in the hands, this isn't even like this type of thing, right? This is this type of thing.
Yeah.
This is chest level Magic with your face in between it, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't know any versions of Triumph that way. Usually everything has to come down a little bit. So like to be able, like this is a Triumph that not only you should learn because you can just do it with any borrowed shuffle deck, and if you like Triumph, here's another great presentation of it. But even for like stand up, you could do this because it now plays chest level to the audience. So great little piece of Magic from Yvonne.
John Green over here in the YouTube chat saying Colin's Penguin Live lecture was groundbreaking download at the time of release. Absolutely, you're 100% right, John. It's definitely something that people have gone back to. Oh, and John's also following up saying Super Visual Triumph. You're absolutely right. Sortable looks fantastic. Let's move on to, again, no surprise that this one got nominated, but another Triumph. This is Virtual Triumph by Adrian LaCroix. A really, really great Triumph where he is doing some very interesting things. This was one of the first notable virtual effects that came out at the beginning of all of this craziness. And Adrian took sort of an older method and then updated it so that it could be used virtually, and then mixed in some interesting gimmick use on his side so that you and the audience are doing exactly the same thing, but it looks really chaotic and it makes it harder for them to walk back, which is always a problem with procedural effects. Adrian did a fantastic job with this.
So, I mean, Adrian hit after hit this year with the virtual stuff.
Yeah.
And Virtual Triumph is a great trick. I've done it for my friends and family on numerous occasions this year. It's a 4 of a kind Triumph. So it's your spectator's going to take out any 4 of a kind, put them face up in the deck, and then do a whole bunch of shuffles and cuts, and somehow they end up at the only face up cards in the pack. It's a great trick, and I think if you did it, I mean, anybody could do it. The trick is essentially just verbal.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna love it. It's a great trick to do over any sort of
Yep.
virtual call.
It's super good. You know, the chat over on YouTube just talking, just singing Adrian's praises on this. I think a lot of people are really, really interested in this effect when it came out, and of course he performed it on Penn and Teller. Let's move
Oh,
on
that's right.
though. Let's move on though. We're going to talk about Inventor of the Year now. We were talking about the partner products of the year, but we're going to move on to a new category right now. We're talking about the inventors of the year. And before we get too deep into this, I think one of the things that we should talk about is sort of how Inventor of the Year. Oh, Cyril Thomas joining us over here on Facebook. You just missed us talking about your stuff, man. Everyone was saying good things about it. But Inventor of the Year was kind of interesting. I think that what we decided to do was we looked at who had been in the top inventor list most this year. There are obviously some really wonderful inventors who didn't make the list this year, but what it came down to for us was we said who was in the list the most and had the most products come out this year. And so everyone who's in this list not only comes up on that inventor list, but they just had multiple releases this year. And so there were arguably some people who should definitely get this award and would have gotten this award in past years and definitely would have been nominated. It's just that they didn't have as many releases for us to talk about. And the first one we're talking about is, again, our friend Adrian LaCroix. We just got done talking about his Virtual Triumph, but he also had Virtual Rising. There was the pin code one, and a couple of other things as well. Adrian really knocking it out of the park. I think he had 5 different releases this year that all charted.
Isolated, and
Yeah.
then Virtual Out of This World, and Passcode, I think is the name of his newest one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he just took the bull by the horns when it came to creating virtual magic. And I mean, if you're not friends with Adrian on social media, I would suggest reaching out to him because you get to see his little journey that he's had. I mean, he's talked to Copperfield this year. I apparently called him up to ask if it would be okay for him to perform one of his tricks on a Zoom call. Imagine that, Copperfield calling you to ask if you could do one of your penguin magic tricks. And Penn and Teller did Virtual Triumph on Fool Us. And I mean, he's just had great success. So hats off to Adrian. He's done a lot of great work this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously showed up a lot on that list. Let's move on to the next inventor. There we go. We were talking about Adrian LaCroix. Talking about David Jonathan. David Jonathan, another one who showed up a lot this year in the inventors. He had 3 big releases, but those releases kept him at the top of the charts. Snaps, which he co-created with Dan Harlan, obviously at the top of the list, and back in stock, by the way. I think it's back in stock if it hasn't already sold out again. I know
it is back in stock, but yeah, it's number one at the moment. So
yeah, so David Jonathan showing up over and over again for Snaps, and then also with the band, which he created, and then Dan Harlan presented and added a couple of twists. So it's almost like Dan Harlan is getting a little bit of a bump there.
Yeah. Well, we determined that we already gave Harlan the Lifetime Achievement Inventor of the Year award, right? So we said that he just won 2019, 18, 17, 16. Yeah.
And then another thing that David Jonathan came out this year that also charted and put him in the category for Top Inventor of the Year was Uno, which was an interesting effect that he came out with. That is still available on penguinmagic.com. So he was in there 3 times. Compared to some of the other inventors, he wasn't in there as many times multiple, but his releases were arguably so big and were so popular that he obviously is a shoo-in for the nomination.
And David is also a regular in the Penguin Magic Partner Program. So if you search for David Jonathan, you're going to see a ton of tricks on Penguin. Not all. There was only Uno. What is a Penguin Magic Partner trick? But that was the only one he did release this year. It looks like. But anyway, David is a fantastic creator, and he's got some even better stuff coming out this year. I think I've seen a couple of things he's been working on. And I'm like, whoa, that was really good.
Yeah, it seems like it's almost like David was like is going after this award again. It seems like he's got a bunch of stuff lined up. Moving on to the next inventor, no surprise here, David Regal showing up in Inventor of the Year, because David had Letter Perfect, which is a
tricks.
Great combination with that. He had his color changed knives came out this year. Trustworthy came out this year. I
This
can't
trick
remember.
called Symmetry.
Symmetry, yeah.
Yeah, Symmetry is like a coincidence trick. The perfectly oiled, oil and water. Oh man, what was the other one?
Oh, David Jonathan's showing up over here in the YouTube chat saying he did sneak one more release through the partner program last week before 2020 ended. Okay, so David Jonathan is now at least on par with everybody else with no total number of releases.
Well, and then what was the other? Not this.
Oh yeah, not this. This is really strong.
Man, they're all so strong. It's like anytime you go and you watch any of those videos for David Regal, you're just like, man, why don't I learned this trick, and why haven't I done it for anybody? Because all of the tricks that he comes out with are just so strong.
Yeah,
and they're pretty much all like borrowed shuffle deck type of tricks that you should just know how to do.
The oil and water trick that David Regal came out with this year was one of my favorites. It was such an interesting oil and water that happens face up, face down with different colored backs, different colored faces. Really, really interesting stuff. You know, David's so prolific too that it's not a terrible surprise to see him. Because again, if you're just joining us, the where these came from was we weren't going for any sort of specific artistic merit here. We just said who showed up in the Inventor list the most this year. Moving on to the next person here, obviously another very prolific inventor, Max Maven, showing up here because Pocket Nightmare came out, but also Virtual Visions came out. And Virtual Visions was really 5 different effects, 6 if you include the sort of micro documentary talk about the history of virtual magic tricks, which is really interesting to go through. You only got that if you got the entire Virtual Visions pack, but inside of Virtual Visions was the Switchcraft, I think, was one of them. Can you bring that up, because there were so many good things in there. The Color Matrix was my favorite out of it. You know, but we had so many people talking about some amazing stuff. 90 Day Fiance showing up here in the chat, saying 90 Days Fiance saying Virtual Visions was awesome, best product of the year.
So you had Normal Mailer, Lost and Phoned, Switch Doctor, Rainbow Matrix, Manhattan Transfer, and Checkmates. All of those within the Virtual Visions series.
Yeah, I mean, all just like such good, strong products. Totally understand why Max is in there. I mean, Max is one of those people who has been inventing, you know, for years. I mean, how many times has he been in? How many?
I remember when all the virtual stuff was coming out. This is probably like April or May last year. And I don't know how the conversation started with Max, but he wanted to do a project on virtual magic. And we're just like, well, yeah,
absolutely.
Obviously. So, man, he delivered too, because the stuff that's in there is all super strong. So if you want some mentalism to add to your virtual show, look no further. Virtual Visions. In
the chat going crazy over here, you know, Max Maven, they're fist bumping. Hungry says Max Maven should get an award for all his contributions to the art. Absolute legend. Yep. Also, Cyril saying Max has the best haircut of the century. You should believe me. You need to go back and watch the VH1 show Celebra Cadabra, because Max has some pretty amazing hairstyles in that too. He's amazing. Let's move on to the next inventor. R. Paul Wilson came out with a whole bunch of stuff this year. Because I don't think people realize how many great things R. Paul came out with. Because Backfire, one of my favorite releases this year, came out. But the Miracle Pickpocket, something that I think he deserves an award for is Unmarked Miracle. Quite frankly, one of the most groundbreaking card techniques that came out this year, as far as I'm concerned. A really interesting way of clocking the deck. And then there was
C3PO.
C3PO came out this year. The Spectrum deck that came out in December, so we ended up grandfathering that in. That is a Swiss Army knife.
I love the Spectrum deck. That's one of my favorite tricks this year for sure. R. Paul Wilson had all hits, man. Everything he came out with, he was just swinging for the fences.
Every one of them super strong. And then let's move on to the next inventor that we're talking about here, which is Woody Aragon. And again, not a surprise that Woody is in here, because Woody is so good. I mean, now a lot of the stuff, admittedly, is from Woody's books, but also Woody had new work on it, and so he wanted to put that in there. So we've got the Love Ritual was one of his biggest hits this year. That's been around for quite some time, and he's doing that's a monster tutorial. I mean, it's not you're not getting a trick, you're getting a lifetime worth of work on.
There's a lot more than just the routine that you might already know. There's more stuff on there that he's presenting, different variation as well. And then you also have Foolish Cheater, which is fairly recent, which is a great Great
Yeah.
trick. I highly recommend you go watch that video. The EP Principle and Cheerleader, also two other releases.
Cheerleader, one of my favorite card tricks of the year. That's one that's definitely going to be going into my working repertoire, just because it's got this really interesting dual reality where the trick has no moves and you don't have to do anything, or even know anything, and it just works by itself, even though it doesn't seem like a trick that would work by itself. It's super good. That's
Great stuff. I mean, Woody's stuff is just so fooling and so good.
Yeah. Let's move on though, because Nick, what we're going to be talking about now is the playing cards that came out this year, the deck of the year. A lot of really great decks of playing cards came out this year for us to talk about. We don't need to spend too much time on these, but the Bicycle Elites came out this year. A lot of people liking that those are continuing to be reprinted on the Crush stock with the rider back. The nice borders on the sides, so that they're always nice and traditionally cut. Super important. We had the Jerry's Nuggets come out this year. Jerry's Nuggets, I know Nick was showing those off a little bit earlier.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Bam.
Yeah. The Royal Purple Jerry's Nuggets coming out. I mean, that deck's been sitting on my desk for, all
Here,
year.
Merrick, there you go.
Ooh.
There you go.
The Deland Centennial deck, I think, was a big hit too. I think that was really
I
interesting.
like those.
I know.
They've
Yeah.
really grown on me. The Delands. I've been
Yeah.
shuffling those just about every day. I have a stripper deck in the kitchen
Man.
that I like to shuffle.
That's it's a great. I mean, it's two different decks that both came out in conjunction with the book that Richard Kaufman wrote on Deland, which is an excellent book. And then we also had the Tally-Ho Elites come out and Screams at Midnight, all really interesting decks, all very strong contenders for Deck of the Year from Penguin Magic. Screams at Midnight, which is what Nick is holding up right now, super interesting. Beautiful artwork, really clever marking system that's super interesting, hides in plain sight.
Yeah, the markings on these are unreal. If you want to see how it works, just go to penguinmagic.com and you look at type in Screams at Midnight and then watch the second demo that's on there. I explain exactly how to read them. It's very unique. Hats off to Phil Smith, because I don't know how it comes up with this stuff.
The other one that we should talk about, I just realized we didn't talk about very much, was the Emperor deck, which was really cool. This came out pretty late last year. Or actually, we were promoting it late last year, and then it came out this year. Really beautiful deck with these Emperor Penguin design on it. I like the Jokers are a lot of fun. They're different penguins, and then I really like the Ace of Spades is a lot of fun too in this. Where is it?
Well, it's going to be cool as well, because in the show next week, next Friday, when we go live, we're going to be doing a couple giveaways. There'll be a contest of some sorts where we'll be giving, I think at least a couple times, we'll be giving, I think, Eric, and might be some debate about this, but the entire, like one of each deck, like all six. I've got some prize packs laid up, ready to be given away and shipped out, but like some people will win all 6 decks.
I think
cool.
That is a lot of fun. I feel like people should spread the word. By the way, share this video right now. Share whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Share it on the social media platform that you like. We want as many people tuning in to the award show. We're going to have all kinds of special guests on the show, giving away awards. We're going to have a live performance from an award-winning magician. I'm not going to tell you who it is quite yet, but he's a very close friend of mine, and you guys are going to love the thing that he's put together for you guys. We're also going to have celebrity magicians giving away the awards. It's really going to be.
Yeah, you're not joking either. We got some big names.
Some heavy hitters who I interviewed this year on the Penguin Magic podcast. As a matter of fact, someone whose episode got more than 1,000 downloads, more than 1,000 streams, is going to be exciting. Is going to be giving away some awards, and I think you guys are going to be very interested to see who we have on the show. It's going to be tons of fun. But Nick, let's move on.
Moving on.
Let's move on to the books. Let's talk about the books that came out this year. In the nominations for the books of the year, I know there was a little controversy over this because some of them were reprints, like the Books of Wonder came out a long time ago, and then Ramon Rubio's book had been around for quite some time, but it was just released for the first time in English. So there was some classics that were reprinted that were nominated along with books that were published for the first time this year, and because we're these are the Penguin Magic Awards, and we're dealing with things that came out with Penguin Magic and through Penguin Magic, we decided to add a few things that were very influential this year. And the Books of Wonder were very influential this year. I think there were two great projects, both the Dan Harlan and the Modern Wonder series by Kayla Drescher and Carissa Hendricks came out. Were very exciting. We also had go ahead.
For those that are unaware, we work very closely with Hermetic Press and Stephen Minch. And since we got together, we've been reprinting a lot of the older books that haven't been printed in many, many years, which is why books like Books of Wonder, Verbal Magic have been popular this year. I mean, I think we know why Verbal Magic might have been popular this year, whether or not we reprinted it, but we did reprint it this year. So these are the things that we release when it comes to books here at Penguin. That's just the way that it is. So I can't see a way to not include the reprints, because then we'd only have, I think only one book this year.
No, I believe there were two books that came out this year, because Resigned to
Free Will, was that the other one?
I think Resigned to Miracles by Peter Groening came out this year. Fantastic book on secretly duplicating a spectator's signature in the context of a trick, and then a whole bunch of really great stuff to do with it once you get that done. We talked about Peter very early on in this stream when it came out. We did we took a deep dive into the book and looked at it. Really, really fantastic book. Also, Second Thoughts by Ramon Rubio. Really wonderful book of fantastic Spanish card magic that was only available in Spanish until this year. It finally got translated and came out. Some really, really interesting stuff in there. And then, of course, Totally Free Will by Mark Chandow is one of the. So there were really three books that came out this year that were sort of new, which I think Totally Free Will counts. Totally Free Will came out, and then Second Thoughts I think counts in this book. But Totally Free Will, excellent book, and then Verbal Magic by Juan Tamariz reprinted this year, which also really good, and of course Worlds Beyond by Paul Curry, which I know you've done a lot of deep work on.
They're all some of the best books ever. I mean, there's no weak link on this list. All these books are incredible. If you like books and you don't have any of these, just grab them because they're really, really good.
Yep, let's move on though to the lectures of the year, Nick. I think that this is an exciting category to talk about because this is one of our
hot category.
I think this is one of the big awards this year. I think we've got like two or three arguably big awards: Inventor of the Year, Lecture of the Year, and Trick of the Year. I think are some of the big ones this year.
Yeah, this is really, in my opinion, probably the biggest award.
Yeah.
Not that the Trick of the Year isn't a great award. I mean, it's a great award. It's just that the lecture is unique to Penguin Magic. So really, every other award that we're talking about is stuff that within house, right? There's a lot of products that come out there, but the best-selling download of the year is just whatever happened on Penguin. It's not the best-selling download on planet Earth.
No.
But when it comes to the lecture, kind of is, right? Because we're the game in town. So.
This is the way for us to celebrate all of the really great creators who put, in a lot of cases, their entire life's work into these lectures. Yeah. And we had it was a very fierce competition this year because there were a lot of very popular ones. I think there were probably some ones that people were wondering why they didn't get nominated, and it was just because there were literally so many extraordinarily popular lectures that came out this year. And let's talk about them. Actually, let's talk about the first one, which is Christopher Carter Live. I think that was one of the first. You hosted that, and that was one of those lectures that we got done and went, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the second it got released, it was number one. I mean, it was when a lecture is in the top 20 in the pre-sales, it's going to be a big hit. And Chris Carter was in the number one for months. The material that he shares in this lecture is all real world mentalism for stage, like the stuff that he has made a living with. That's why, if you've never heard of Christopher Carter, that's probably why, because he's just been working and he does not, didn't have the time to go to Penguin Magic and release all his material. So you're going to get live performances from some really cool venues like the Chicago Magic Lounge, and then also some colleges that he's performed at. And his excellent instruction. You would think that he's been teaching magic forever. He fooled me if he hasn't been.
Really, really interesting, really well thought out stuff. And then, something that we learned while he was here from another lecture right before Christopher Carter came in that we didn't talk about in the lecture, and we didn't talk about in the podcast, but we should talk about now is Christopher Carter was kind of the guy who put Anniversary Waltz on the map. He was one of the first people to say, hey, you should have a double facer sign and then give it away as a souvenir. He's a really interesting guy to talk to, very deep thinker. Definitely go check out his Penguin Magic podcast episode. It's super good. But we got to move on, though, because we got so much to talk about tonight, Nick. Let's talk about Jeremiah Zuo. This is another one that just blew us away. All coin lecture, really, really interesting. Jeremiah is an underground legend that is just insane. Like, we've heard his name for so long, and he's primarily a card guy, but his coin work is next level, and people just can't stop talking about it. He surprised us with absurd coin tricks, unique coin tricks. A lot of it is based around a concept he calls the drop, and it's combined with sleights that are not terribly difficult. One of the things he talks about in that lecture is that he's kind of a lazy coin worker in that he doesn't like to do really terribly difficult stuff. Like, there's a lot of people doing really insane moves where they're like muscle passing stuff back and forth. And his coin magic looks like trick photography, but it's also within the skill level of even beginner magicians. It's such a good lecture. So popular.
Coin magic lectures. There's a nice handful of them out there for you to take a look at. This is one of the best ones. So if you like coin tricks, I mean, this stuff's kind of hard to find sometimes. You have to get this. There's just really no way around it. Lectures second to none, man. It's one of the best coin lectures ever on the Penguin Magic platform. Yeah,
it's so good. Just jumping over and looking at the chat here, Tom Holbrook saying Carter rocked. Hungry saying Penguin lives are the greatest value in Magic. We've said that over and over again. I know that we're here selling them to you, but we truly believe that. And also saying after COVID, you guys got to get Danny T back for a fifth one. Who knows, man? We'd love to. We love Danny every time he comes in.
We still have that picture we have to give him, right?
Yeah, we do. Perseus gave. Oh man, it's so funny. Let's move on though.
Didn't we put out something? I can't remember. We said we were holding it hostage or something. I can't remember what we did. I think stream, we did say that never paid off.
Let's move on. Speaking of super popular live acts, Mario the Maker's live act was another. People had been clamoring for that one for forever, and Mario is another one of those guys who he's out there working all the time. And the one of the great things about COVID, as unfortunate as it is that now we're able to get people like that who just haven't had the time. And so now they're actually talking to us saying, hey, I'd love to come in. You guys have been asking me for years. I finally got the time. Let's do it. And we got some really phenomenal workers this year, and Mario was one of them. And his whole ethos of making everything and combining the maker movement with magic is so phenomenal. So you get, sort of like a breakdown of like Arduinos and where to find information on that if you wanted to add these kinds of things. He shared with us some robots that he built, like his table robot, a suitcase that tips itself over, then pops up and turns into a table. His chop cup routine, which is, with a robot, and then Marcel the monkey, which is really just a mime routine where he's interacting with a robot, but it's so effective that it fooled the puppeteers on Sesame Street. It's an amazing live act, and he doesn't hold anything back. But also some great magic. His bottle cap ribbon award routine is really good. His streamer restoration is really good. His color changing shoelace is so good. I had a pretty well known magician call me up after that and say, I'm building the shoelace. It's so good. But yeah, Mario the Maker's, you get to see inside of his case, which is so good.
Video. Yeah, watch that. Just go to Penguin Magic right now if you haven't seen it and watch the trailer, because it's just so wacky to see all the different robots and things in the video. You'll want to watch it. I guarantee you. Just go check it out.
I've been very lucky that when I reached out to him to interview him for the podcast, he jumped all over it. He was like, yeah, man, I'd love to. And I've gotten to be good friends with Mario this year, and it has been he's such a nice, generous guy, doing all kinds of amazing things. And he's super nice and super passionate about what he does. We got to move on, though. We got to move on to another phenomenal thing. This is, I know, Nick, you and I have been talking about this one forever. This is Mark James Live.
This is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, God, all these lectures are so good, man. When you get the Mark James lecture, you're getting two shows. And it could stop there. I mean, you could just watch both of his shows. He's got like an A side and a B side, two 45-minute shows, I believe.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even need him to explain it, because you'd be like, wow, I just got my money's worth just watching this guy perform two amazing magic shows.
Yeah.
But then he explains it all as well. And the routines are kind of classics. So a lot of classic plots that you know, but man, his presentations and all this stuff is so good. His methods and his thinking behind them all, you're going to learn everything, how he travels. It's just, everybody shows up to Penguin Life prepared.
Yep.
Mark James was like
over prepared,
ready since birth.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lectures that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it got mine too. I mean, really, really good. And I know that I referred to his lecture this year when I was getting ready for a show, because he goes into to doing some tech stuff and like how to like prepare music for your show and how to pick it and run it. It's so good.
It might be the best. Like, we play the game all the time. Like, what's the best mentalism lecture? What's the best whatever? This would be in the running for, like, if you wanted to just like see what a magic show looks like a modern commercial magic show, like, that's it. I mean, just get Mark James.
Yeah. So good. Tom Holbrook over here saying, Mario, I'm going to buy that. Mark James, I'll buy that. I'm sorry, Tom Holbrook, that we're giving you so many awesome things to buy. But yeah, the Mark James one is super good. And I think Mark James is also, I don't know where it is available. I think you can reach out to him. He's pretty active on Facebook, but he created a director's commentary for his live act that I've listened to. That's pretty good. Yeah. You watch the live act on Penguin, and then you like play the MP3 on your computer over it. And he does a breakdown of his own live lecture.
He's also got a podcast that he put out.
Yeah, it's super good. We got two more live acts to talk through. Nathan Fan. This was an exciting one for us to talk through because where are you? Nathan Fan did some really amazing stuff. Where is it? Oh, there it is. There we go. Nathan Fan is a really, really wonderful performer. He's super busy on cruise ships, super busy doing theaters all over the place. His live act was one of the first ones we filmed in 2020, and he came out and got the very first standing ovation of the year, and then at Dan Hartland's request did his straitjacket escape, which I think is performance only in this lecture.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember, actually. It's been so long since I've seen it.
But also his Christopher Walken stuff is on here. We had a lot of fun with him on the podcast doing some weird Christopher Walken stuff. But there's some phenomenal stuff in here. He has a Bill to wine bottle in this that is just amazing.
So smart.
Yeah.
The tricks in here, I think you're going to get like a quick, like, I believe it's like a 12 to 20 minute act somewhere in there. So it's a little shorter, but it's packed with like just incredible ideas. Yeah. And you're also going to learn just like the way that he brands himself. Like, you'll see with like the colors that he uses and everything on the stage, and you'll just get to watch like just a true performer with the, singing and dancing and impressions and all that stuff. Yeah, it's probably the first standing ovation and probably the last standing ovation we had in 2020, unfortunately. But unbelievable lecture. I learned a lot.
Oh yeah. His handling on Mental Epic is really interesting too. If Mental Epic is something you wanted to add to your show, it's definitely like worth checking out. It's so good. Yep. We gotta move on though. Let's move on. We have one more to talk about, and this is our good buddy Ryan Schlutz. This is a really, really wonderful live act. Ryan, for years, was known as a close-up worker, and I think his first Penguin lecture is full of a lot of his close-up stuff. But this live act is really sort of Ryan saying, this is how I transition from a close-up guy to a stage guy. And as a close-up guy who is also transitioning to a stage guy myself, this was a super valuable act for me to watch and learn. The lecture's really good. Ryan's a lot of fun. I know he sort of blew his voice out in this because he was performing so intensely. But it's a lot of fun. He killed our audience, just killed him dead. It was really great. And
he's Ryan's just a great performer, and he'll, whenever he is going to like dive into a new genre of magic for himself, he's going to go all out because that's what he does. So his live act is it's really great. The tricks you're going to learn are amazing, right? Yeah. But I think there's also a lot of value in exactly what you were saying, watching somebody he's not claiming to be a stage magician. He's just kind of like, I'm trying to figure this out, and here's what I've learned. But the magic behind it all is super solid.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those that is very valuable for anybody who's wanting to sort of dip their toes in those water. It's really good. Nick, I think that it is time for us to stop talking about the lecture of the year, which is obviously a very important category, and we've got a lot of really interesting things to talk about in there. But we are going to be changing over to talking about the trick of the year category, which is exciting to talk about. There's a lot to talk about here in this. This is the largest category. With everything else, we limited it to 6. But with trick of the year, we've expanded it to 10 total products, and there's some amazing tricks that came out this year, and all of these you're able to get through penguinmagic.com, the website that we love to talk about here since we work for it. But some really, really fantastic stuff. Let's start talking about the first one. This is Bipolar by Ran Cohen.
Bipolar is an incredible,
amazing,
just color-changing card where you can show a face card or a Joker. I can't remember which way it goes, but you show Joker and it's got a red back, and you toss it up in the air and you catch it, and it turns into a blue card, and it also changes on the face as well into a Joker or a face card, vice versa. Look, it's a toy. It's a fun color-changing card. As long as you can catch it, you can do the trick. It's a fantastic little piece of magic.
Ram Cohen developed a really, really interesting flap card that changes on both sides, and it's neat because it also locks. You can actually set it down on a table, then come back and pick it up and affect the change later, which is really cool. And you're going to learn 3 different routines, one from Nick, one from myself, one from Mr. Popa, and it's a lot of fun. Nick, let's move on to the next one, though. We were talking about Fragment by Michael Murray. We saw this one a little bit ago, and
yeah, we don't need to dive on it again. Just know it's a great card at number by Michael Murray that'll really fool you. It's got a live full performance on the product page, so just head to penguinmagic.com, type in Fragment, and you'll get to see the trick front to back, and I highly recommend that you do.
Yep, it's a super good trick. We've already talked about that, so let's move on to something that has definitely been talked about a lot this year, which is Mental Dice by Tony and Verity. I know Nick and I each bought Mental Die, and we both have been very excited to use it. Mental Dice is the 3. I feel like Mental Die and Mental Dice are sort of coming together on this because it's such a good effect. I used it in the one and only live show that I did this year, and just had a blast with it. Really reliable, rechargeable dice, rechargeable thumper or LCD screen, depending on whether you get Mental Dice or Mental Die. It all just works. I never had a problem with it. Never missed with it. Never had any issues. Super good. And it's really affordable for this kind of electronics. So it's bringing something that used to be thousands of dollars down into a couple hundred, and really, really good.
Yeah, and this is the difference with the Trick of the Year category, is it just encompasses all Magic, not even Penguin produced stuff, right? So it's just like the best-selling stuff on Penguin Magic this year.
Yeah, everything that we're talking about here is some of the stuff that was the best sellers using the data that we had available to us. So we couldn't tell you what other websites were selling. This is just what we noticed. Let's move on, though, to Omega by Max Major. I know this is one that was all over television this year. I know Oz Perlman is really, really hot on this one. It's a fantastic trick.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris did this trick on,
yeah.
I think it was Corden. Man, that's how it got our attention, right? So it's like, wait, hold up. Is that Neil Patrick Harris? Did he buy a trick and is doing it on TV? Because, great trick. You're gonna get a special deck of cards with it. And again, this is one of those, just go watch the performance. And if you like what you see, you're gonna love the gimmick, because it's just gonna do what you need it to do. Yeah,
I mean, to see this trick on television multiple times this year, it's no wonder that it's getting a nomination for Trick of the Year. I mean, it's a very, very strong trick. Also,
super popular.
Just jumping over into the chat here, the Magentleman is joining us. Hello, the Magentleman. Well met. And saying, combine Mental Dice with Mental Epic. Really, really good idea. And then, the Magic Buzz joining us over here from YouTube says, Omega is perfect. That's a ringing endorsement from another magician. Let's move on, though, to a trick that I know you and I are both super big fans of. This is Pocket Nightmare by Max Maven. Very, very strong contender for Trick of the Year. I know that you went to Blackpool and just crushed people with this. A lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, you put one hand in your pocket, you say, do you hit a trick with one hand? You have your spectator look at a card, and then you try to read their mind to think of what card they're thinking of. You get it wrong, kind of. You say... And then you hand them the deck. You say, I'm sorry, we'll do it different. Take your card out of the deck. they can't find the card. And that's when you say, oh, I said I would do this trick with one hand. I just never told you which one. Then you take your hand out of your pocket and you have their card in your hand, which was in your pocket the entire time. It's a real fooler because the question that you just get asked all the time, yeah, but can the spectator really look through the deck? And the answer is yes. The spectator can look through the deck. As you see, this is another great example. Head to penguinmagic.com. You can watch an entire performance front to back of this trick, and you'll see the way that Max is handling his spectator when they're looking for their card in the deck. It's a great trick. It's a gimmick deck. It does exactly what it needs to do.
It's and people have rightly pointed out that this trick has been around before. Max talks about it on the DVDs that he put out with Louis D'Amato. The problem was he told you, you got to make the gimmicks, and the gimmicks are a pain in the butt to make. So these are custom printed gimmicks by the United States Playing Card Company on bicycle stock. So it's a really nice deck of cards, and you don't have to go make it, which is really great. And Max actually goes into the history of where Pocket Nightmare came from, where he first performed it, which was at FISM, by the way. He just crushed people with it.
And there's one other note on this.
Yeah.
Eric, we really need to sell all the rest of our Pocket Nightmare copies. Because if we do, we will reprint Pocket Nightmare with a new Force card.
That's that's really exciting.
We need this to happen, everybody. Yeah. So please, I just want to have an extra different Force card as well.
Oh, me too.
And I'm sure everybody else out there does too. So if you get it now, get a couple decks, so you get a couple backups, and then you'll be ahead of the game when the reprint comes out, so you can get 2 more.
The YouTube chat taking on a life of its own here. Tom Holbrook saying, yes, Pocket Nightmare, but hungry, screaming for a Neil Patrick Harris Penguin Live. Who knows?
We have gone down that road before.
Yeah.
And just a little side note here, it was funny because even this year when we realized, well, wow, maybe now we can get people that we didn't normally could get, right?
Yeah.
Trying to book Neil Patrick Harris before would have been pretty difficult.
Hardest working man in Hollywood.
And unfortunately now, even now where he has more time, it's just without having a real audience in front of Neil Patrick Harris, it's not the same, right? We don't want to put him in a room by himself, and it's because we will get him one day.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that, and I'd rather it be the right scenario for when we do have Neil Patrick Harris.
What we got to do is we got to hit the end of the pandemic. That's what we got to target, because he won't have work yet, but we'll be able to put him in front of an audience. I think that's what we'll.
Yeah, we were even talking to guys like David Williamson who really wanted to do stuff with us, but it's just you need to put him in front of a crowd, man, right? We want some laughs. We want to have some fun. So
speaking of David Williamson, by the way, head on over to Penguin Magic and check out the Magic Dave show. It's a great subscription. There's a lot of really great information. David Williamson interviewing some of your favorite magicians and also teaching you tricks. It's a really excellent value. It's super interesting. But Nick, let's move on because we got sidetracked. We're talking about the tricks of the year here. So let's move on from Max Maven to Random Odds by Derek Ostavani. This is a great trick.
Derek's a great old buddy of mine. He put out a couple downloads. Well, one download, Random Odds, and then he also put out Treasury this year.
Yep.
And Random Odds kind of just blew up. This is a trick. Derek's a worker. He's type of guy that's doing restaurants and weddings and private parties and corporate stuff out in San Diego. And this is a trick that he does all the time. That uses some really cool, strong core thing. It's like 3 things meshed into one that you didn't really think to put together before. This is one of those that when you do it, gets a huge reaction. Yeah. It's so powerful. It's really, really powerful trick.
If you know 1 or 2 of the principles, you might not be familiar with the other, and it's so good. It's really, really good. You're going to learn a lot from this that you're going to take away. You're going to be able to do Random Odds, but you're also going to be able to do a whole bunch of other things as well. It's going to be fantastic. Let's move on to
and when we looked at the data, that Random Odds was one of the
most popular
best-selling tricks by far this year.
And
it was among the very upper top.
So many positive reviews too. So many positive reviews. Let's move on though to the next nominee. This is no surprise here. Snaps by David Jonathan and Dan Harlan. Really, really great product. Back in stock, by the way. Back in stock. What it is an alphabet deck hidden in plain sight. It's made up of all kinds of different pictures. Stock. It's made up to look like a sample stock photography box. You're going to get, I think, a dozen different routine ideas with this, along with access to a secret Facebook group where there's tons more ideas. This has been used in a whole bunch of virtual shows. This has been, didn't this get used on, was it Britain's
Got
Got
used
Talent?
on some talent show.
Yeah.
I don't know which one, but yeah, somebody had a great routine with it too that he did with his kid. And,
Yeah.
It's really, really strong. We should find
Yeah.
that clip, post it on our social media.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are great. They're also marked on the back.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that very often, but this is a fantastic, fantastic product.
Yeah, just really wonderful. I know I've done a bunch of work with this. You've done a bunch of work with this, and it's really, really interesting. So definitely a big, strong contender for Trick of the Year. Great collaboration by David Jonathan and Dan Harlan. Before we move on, though, I just want to address the chat here again. YouTube being pretty active tonight. You kids on Facebook are usually the talkative ones, but you're awful quiet, whereas Facebook's real chatty tonight. Jose Ruiz just hopping in and saying, thanks, Nick and Eric, for bringing us these shows, which I'm sure are a lot of work. They are a lot of work, but we're happy to do it for you guys because we like doing this. We like engaging with you in the chat. We like hearing what our customers like and sharing information with you. And on Sunday nights, we get to save you some money, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, don't forget, today's only Friday, Eric, so we got to do this again in 2 days.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and then after that, we're going to work all week to make the award show, which is happening on January 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be broadcast live here on Facebook and YouTube. We're going all out. Nick and I we're doing some really, really great stuff. It's fantastic. John Green saying, Eric, the clip is James Piper and his son for BGT. Thanks for that, John. We'll definitely go ahead and check it out. Thanks for fact checking us there. And Tom Holbrook saying, please post the nominations on the website to tie in with the show.
Yeah, we're trying to work on that. That we just unfortunately don't have any control over the website.
Yep.
It might still happen. In fact, possibly later this week, or maybe after the show, after the show actually airs, there might be some way to find the tricks that were nominated and were awarded things.
Yeah. And then before we move on, Ite Cohen in Facebook finally speaking up tonight, saying, great show, guys. Thanks, Mr. Cohen. Appreciate you tuning in. Nick, let's move on to a trick that is, again, no surprise that it is nominated for Trick of the Year. That is Virtual Triumph by Adrian LaCroix. We talked a lot about this earlier, but it's
just one of the biggest tricks
yep.
in general. Like, yes, on Penguin, it was one of the biggest tricks, but the fact that it made it on Penn and Teller Fool Us and stuff is just, other level stuff. One of the best tricks this year.
Yeah. Really, really fantastic trick. Head on over to Penguin Magic and pick it up if you haven't already. Moving on, we are coming in towards the end here. This is something we talked about a lot earlier. We talk about it a little bit more. Virtual Visions being nominated for Trick of the Year. Here, we're nominating the whole package. It's so hard to pick out one of them. And so many people took advantage of the deal where you could get just all of the tricks in one bundle and then get the additional discussion on the history of virtual tricks from Max. It's really no surprise that this is getting a nomination, and a lot of people liked it. A lot of people saying really great things about it.
Yeah, it would have been in downloads of the year. It was just we're kind of combining all the downloads into one on this to just make a full product, it was just one of the best-selling things that we did this year, and we're very thankful to Max for being able to put that together with us.
Yep, and then let's move on to the last trick that was nominated. These are in alphabetical order, by the way, if you're wondering. There's no particular order here, but that is Voodoo Needle by Peter Egink and Aeon Sun. Really, really popular trick. I know you went to Blackpool the year that this came out, and it was just a runaway hit at Blackpool. That Aeon Sun created something really, really special here.
Yeah, it's real magic, man.
Yep.
That's about all you need to know. You know, you're watching that video. If you do not know the secret to this, it is. There's no threads. There's no magnets. There's no anything.
Yeah, it just works.
Which sounds insane, and it's actually even a better method than using thread or magnets or any of that other stuff. If you don't know it, get it.
I was ignoring the chat a little bit earlier because people were screaming about this trick. Tom Holbrook saying the needle, the Magentalman saying I second the creepy needle. Everyone likes it. It's a really solid trick.
So good.
And so that's it. So there we go. I'm gonna hop us back in here and to our double box. Nick, we got the schedule coming up. We reviewed all of the nominees earlier before Christmas. It was a lot of fun. Voting started December 21st. Voting is still live until midnight tonight. If you go to p3magic.com/2020 awards, you can cast your vote. We are leaving that open until midnight tonight. And then we're going to tabulate the votes and come back on Friday, January 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Nick and I are going to be hosting the show. We're going to be having lots of special guests. I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy this show. We're going to work very hard on it for you all week. And, of course, we're going to be having giveaways, Nick. I mean, someone could win all 6 of the decks that are nominated this year.
Of cards, decks of cards. You get a nice stack of cards. I'm excited to give those away. I ordered up a few packs. So, I don't know what the contest is going to be. If anybody's got any good ideas, why is it so hard to come up with good contests, Eric?
I don't know. It's it really is hard to.
I just want it to be something good because you're gonna have to be in the chat to win, for sure. It's not gonna be one of those things for after the fact. It's like you have to be there to get it right. So tune in next Friday. Not only will we have a lot of fun, but there'll also be some things to win.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and just real quick here, getting something populated in the video. Was it gonna go? Nope. Just trying to throw the text up there on the screen, but that website again is p3magic.com/2020 awards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, p3magic.com, just in case you're wondering. Yes, that is not penguinmagic.com. p3magic.com is where we host a lot of the instructional videos. If you were to buy one of our physical products, usually on the inside of the product, there'll be like a little download code. That's where we host all those videos. Yep. So if you're just curious about what that site actually is, that's what it is. But yes, head to p3magic.com/2020 awards, and you can cast your vote.
Yep, that's it. Actually, I just got the text thrown up there on the screen so everybody can see it. That is the award. You won't be able to click that link in there. That is just the website you need to go to, p3magic.com/2020 awards. There is an S on the end of that. Nick, is there anything else we need to do tonight?
No, I don't think so. I got to go finish watching Queen's Gambit, but that's about it.
So we got a couple of questions left. The Hungry and Hungover says they're going to get a couple of 6-packs for the 8th and have a fun stream. Magic Buzz says, what time do you go live next Friday? We're actually not going to be live next Friday. The next time that we are going to be live is Sunday night. We're going to be live Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Cool Box Live. We have a really great show for you guys planned with a whole bunch of tricks that you're going to be able to get some really great discounts on. Lectures,
Eric,
physical stuff.
I forgot, too. Is this the one, or is it the week after for Cool Box Live that has like... I know we haven't even talked about this week's Cool Box Live together yet.
Oh yeah.
But isn't this the one with like the crazy deals?
Oh, you know what? Let me pull this up here.
I'm looking this up right now. Right.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. No, it's not that one. It's
week 2.
I think it's week 2.
Is it week 2?
Yeah, I think it is. And yeah.
No. Okay. Well, no, there's great stuff this week. Don't get me wrong. It's the week after.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's the week after. Well, there's some really great stuff. As a matter of fact,
no, it's like 2. Yeah. Well, it's a few weeks out. But yes, it looks like maybe the first week in February.
We're gonna have
last week of this month.
Yeah,
last week of this month is to not be missed.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Believe us when we say that. It's amazing. So Tom Holbrook,
that one for sure.
Tom Holbrook, we're gonna be live this Sunday with the Cool Box Live, and then after that, keep an eye on the space we are watching right now, both Facebook and YouTube. We're probably gonna go live Wednesday to tease some stuff, maybe talk to you guys a little bit about the different contests that we're gonna have. Maybe we'll reveal a couple of the special guests. It's gonna be an exciting time, but we are gonna go live Sunday night for the Cool Box. We'll see you guys on Friday, January 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to find out who wins the big awards. Voting is still live until midnight tonight. Just go to this site right here, p3magic.com/2020 awards. On behalf of Penguin Magic and Nick Lacapo, my name is Eric Tate. We'll see you next time.